here in Davos, where every January 1,000 of the world's richest men and also a few women gather here in the snowy Alps, not just to hoard their cash, but to allegedly solve the world's biggest problems: climate change, extreme poverty, and why I have to hear what Dax Shepard thinks about everything. I traveled 4,000 miles, or 4 Vanessa Carltons, to an event where you can watch Matt Damon talk water conservation with Amazon executives, hear Alex Karp ramble on about tech and/or the Antichrist, or even watch former U.S. Speaker Paul Ryan talk about his weightlifting routine. Honestly, I thought that guy died already. But Davos has plenty of naysayers. Even my frenemy Jamie Dimon makes fun of it, saying that the best description he's heard of Davos is it's where billionaires tell millionaires what the middle class feels. Jamie Dimon. Antifa? But the World Economic Forum paints a very different picture of this event than our comrade Jamie does.
Connecting leaders to drive inclusive growth, guide responsible innovation, and strengthen resilience for people and planet. At the World Economic Forum, connection is never an end. It's always a beginning.
Do I know what any of that means? No. But do I respect what that Bond girl has to say? Yes. So what actually happens at Davos aside from cutting a bunch of stock footage into an incomprehensible montage? Will a billionaire turn me into a human blood bag? Will one of these guys kill me if I make a joke about killing a head of state? Answers to all these questions and more as soon as they let me in. I didn't realize you had to register beforehand. Davos is the highest city in Europe, and when it's not an alpine ski resort, it's home to the World Economic Forum's annual meeting, where business and political leaders come together to discuss global issues. Its nickname is Magic Mountain, after a book where some sick men talked shop in a sanatorium. Don't know how they thought it was related. Won't even budge. Let me in! What would become the World Economic Forum was founded in 1971 as a way for business leaders to promote stakeholder capitalism, the idea that a company should not only serve its shareholders, but its employees, suppliers, and the community that it's a part of. From its humble capitalist roots, it has grown into a big old capitalist tree, where the who's who of oh yeah them attend. Yo-Yo Ma, Will.i.am, and former U.S. Speaker Paul Ryan, who, to be clear, is confirmed alive. Rude. Each year, Davos has a different theme to shape its programming, like a crucial year to rebuild trust in 2021, cooperation in a fragmented world in 2023, or when the US was busy invading Iraq in 2005, taking responsibility for tough choices. And this year's theme, a spirit of dialogue. No, not even dialogue, just the spirit of it. My parents say I'm smart, and yet they won't let me in. It's rude. I was tested as a child. During the week, you can visit activations at Meta House, Palantir House, or Deloitte House, turning the city into a Disneyland for finance bros. You can't really understand the true vibe of Davos until you're actually here.
Crucial power in the 20s was the United States. Those new technologies were American. The money that mattered was American. And it's America that essentially both...
The live stream quality is just amazing. You can also attend panels where business and political leaders pontificate on topics like the business case for nature, which I didn't know we needed, or sharing best practices through the toolbox of solutions. Now, I love sharing best practices through the toolbox of solutions as much as the next guy, but do these words actually lead to action, or do they just have good mouthfeel? And to answer that question, I needed to, well, first, find an entrance. Oh, fuck, it's a dead end. It's a dead end. In its 55 years, Davos has been credited with some important global achievements. Briefly, in 1988, these two guys shook hands. 4 years later, these two guys also shook hands. And 8 years after that, the Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunization was announced at Davos. It says it has helped vaccinate over 1 billion children, making it, quote, a lifeline for childhood survival in the eyes of the WHO, which was fun while it lasted. But in the past 20 years, the world has become more protectionist, less westernized, and also Skype was invented, so those guys could just chat whenever, meaning that the sillier parts of Davos could shine through. Go around that way. Gotta go around that way. Good thing I can run a 12-minute mile. Take Davos 2005, when Nicholas Negroponte launched his One Laptop Per Child campaign, promising to distribute literally hundreds of millions of laptops to children in developing countries. Because every child, no matter where they're from, should be able to be cyberbullied on Instagram. And the initiative had lots of fans, with one huge celebrity on board.
Imagine every child, no matter where in the world they were, could access a universe of knowledge. I tried to do it through my music, but now You can do it in a very different way. You can give a child a laptop and more than imagine. You can change the world.
Yes, John Lennon cared so much about this issue that he did the video 28 years after he died. And did it work? Well, after product delays, some canceled contracts, and what TechCrunch called the glare of reality, the nonprofit ended up only getting 3 million laptops out the door. But that's 3 million more children watching Mr. Beast, so a step in the right direction.
Mr. Beast probably would have gotten into these events.
And at Davos throughout the 2010s, there was a simulation called Refugee Run, where attendees could learn what it was like to live as a displaced person by playing pretend as refugees. Hey, sometimes a rich person needs a struggling actor to point a fake gun at them to learn what empathy is. A former child soldier who volunteered at the event told Condé Nast that it was very important to bring the simulation to Davos because, quote, people like us often feel the world forgets us. They make policy and other decisions at their level, not ours. But there's a new Davos in town. A better, different Davos. People are revolting against the economic elites they believe have betrayed them, said WEF chair Klaus Schwab, seen here in his Wakanda Halloween costume. And side note, he later resigned after being accused of, quote, questionable handling of travel and other expenses exceeding $1 million. He disputed those findings, and WEF's board later cleared him. But let's not get caught up in all those messy details. Where was I? A better, different Davos. In fact, in 2020, they published a manifesto where they said, a company serves its customers by providing a fair digital ecosystem in which treat people with dignity and respect, strives for continuous improvement, respect for human rights and to the entire activities, safe, ethical, efficient use of data, the future of the present, executive remuneration serves the stakeholders and is directly involved to improve the state of the world. Let's go see what all that means. I want to be where the people are. I want to see them making policy decisions at a global level. You'd be surprised to learn that there's a hierarchy to modern Davos. White badges are for attendees who have paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to be there. Orange badges are for the press. And no badges is for the people who didn't know they were going to Davos until 2 weeks before, and their boss said, hey, do you want to go to Davos? And you said, yeah, sure, even though you really didn't know what Davos was.
Well, hello, boys.
I'll show ass for a badge. But the spirit of Davos is an attitude of openness and cooperation that apparently sets the tone for the day, which is why I was surprised when nobody opened the door for me or cooperated with my request to enter.
So while I haven't done the refugee run simulation, I now know exactly what it means to be a refugee.
These soldiers are not.
But I'm choosing to be badgeless and proud.
Kinda like the people who showed up to protest. And of course, as a seasoned journalist, I followed the story closely from my apartment balcony 4 blocks away.
And as I on-the-ground reported the on-the-ground reporting, I noticed that the badgeless masses made some good points. In 2020, the forum's attendees were worth over $500 billion. And if you include me, a little bit more. But a lady never tells.
And it was a bit of a sausage fest, or since we're in Switzerland, a bratwurst fest.
But there's been some progress. In 2018, Davos held its first all-female panel, reminding the world that yes, women can be rich too. And in 2024, 28% of the attendees were female, which is great because as you know, 28% of the world's population is female. We did it!
At the 2022 summit, private jet emissions quadrupled as over 1,000 planes flew in and out of airports serving Davos.
Hell yeah. Now, the World Economic Forum says that all its CO2 emissions have been calculated and offset through environmental projects. And they said that they would plant 1 trillion trees by 2030. And at the halfway point, that means they have planted 9 billion trees have been pledged. Not planted. Which brings up the age-old question, if a tree is pledged in a forest and never planted, does it offset any carbon emissions? This is a fucking joke. Like, are you kidding me? I've been trying to cover this. I've been trying to cover it. No one cares that I'm here. Ow! Why is it so cold and so slippery? I I got boots for this. You know what? I stand with those protesters who've been left out in the cold and couldn't find any fondue to eat. All this is a forum for a late capitalist regime masquerading as an event about social progress when I know it's not, and it's just absolute fucking bullshit. Oh my God, I got invited to a cocktail hour. That's so great. Oh, it's invite only. Sorry.
Really?
Yeah, sorry. I'll see you later. I'll see you later. Okay, bye.
As I joined the elites in the spirit of dialogue, and as the 3 gin and tonics started to hit, I realized that maybe the goal of Magic Mountain is less about solving silly global problems and more about digital ecosystem. Treat people with dignity and respect, supply chain, and treat people with dignity and respect, human rights, strives for a continuous...
I love Davos! Good morning. In the cold, harsh light of the day, I have been informed that maybe I didn't finish this video. So in conclusion, Davos has had a hand in some important world events, but now it's mainly a place for rich people to network and also take a ski vacation. Only time will tell if Davos can regain its cultural and global relevancy. I'm Annie Bennett, signing off. Oh my God. Oh, my bones, they all hurt. Everything hurts. What the fuck? Oh my God.